Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. And this afternoon, I have with me the Mayor Pro Tem Ellen Cohen, the Vice Mayor Pro Tem Jerry Davis, Councilmember Amanda Edwards, Councilmember David Robertson. Also standing with me is Chief Art Acevedo, as well as Mario Diaz, who's over the airport system. Let me just start off by saying, of course, there have been a lot of things that have taken place across the country and even in our city over the last, let's say, 72 hours. I do want to take this time, though, to commend many of the people, if not most, if not all of the people in our city who have exercised their right to voice their opinions over the last couple of days in the manner in which they have done it very civilly and very peacefully in this city. And so I want to commend all Houstonians for their actions. I know that many in our community are concerned, scared, uncertain about how they may be impacted by the President's executive order on immigration and refugees. Likewise, there are many who are angry about the order and exercising their right to free speech to express their dissatisfaction. We saw this in the peaceful protests at Bush Airport and outside the convention center over the weekend. And again, I want to thank them for doing it in a very peaceful manner. I am also urging protesters to continue to make their concerns known in a very peaceful way. We certainly do not want anything to happen that leads in any form to violence and make the situation worse for our city. And I know you will help to maintain that civility. And I am asking people in our city, all Houstonians, to join me and join the members of City Council and join our law enforcement community and others in maintaining the peace within our city. Like many mayors across our city, I too believe that the White House needs to rethink its executive order, and I've urged them to do that. In the meantime, I want to do all that I can to allay the fears out there in our city. I have repeatedly said that we are a diverse city, and we seek to be an inclusive city, and that as mayor of the city of Houston, I represent everyone. Please know that as your mayor, I don't pick and choose who I represent. I represent everyone, and I am proud to represent every single Houstonian in this city, regardless of their ethnicity, their age, where they come from, their orientation, their religion. I represent everyone. That is what this city is all about. Police do not profile. HPD does not profile. It hasn't in the past, not doing it now, will not do it in the future. HPD is not ICE. And I want to make very clear about that. And in this city, as I've said many times before, we don't build walls. In this city, we build relationships and understanding, and we value that. We don't separate families. We work to help families stay together, and we certainly don't hate, but in this city, we do practice love. In this city, doesn't matter where you come from, or what you look like, your faith, the faith you practice, or who you love, we will stand with you in this city. And quite frankly, that is just the Houston way. That is who we are. We are and will remain a welcoming city, a city where no one should be afraid to live, work, or study. And we will do everything that we can to protect every Houstonian in this city, regardless of where they live, who they are, what their religion may be. We're going to do just that. Before I finish, I want to express my condolences to the families of those killed in the attack on a Canadian mosque and reiterate that discrimination of any kind or hate crimes and threats against Houstonians certainly will not be tolerated in our city. Our police department and our municipal courts will always respect your constitutional rights, and we will ensure that victims and witnesses of crimes can come forward without fear of retaliation, regardless of where they come from. If you feel threatened or are the victims of a hate crime, please call the City of Houston Police Department's hate crime hotline at 713-308-8737. If you are an immigrant or refugee, and if you need information or help, please call the Office of New Americans at 832-393-1010. We will investigate these crimes fully and make our services available to all of our residents. We are fortunate to live in a democratic society where people are free to stand up for what they believe. As the most diverse city in the nation, we place a high priority on inclusiveness and acceptance and tolerance of differences. This weekend, we will host the single biggest sporting event there is, and people from around the globe will be visiting the city of Houston. I asked all Houstonians to help me welcome them and showcase our diversity. The eyes of this world are on us right now. It's a perfect opportunity to set an example and show them how it is done. And as we stand up for the values that we believe in, diversity, inclusion, respect, and appreciation of differences, the recognition that in our diversity is our strength, that diversity as an asset. As we welcome people from all over the globe to our home, we shall stand up for our values. We are not trying and will not compromise on those. And at the same time, we will demonstrate to them that we can be who we are as we welcome people from all over the globe. And at this time, let me call on Chief Acevedo.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everybody. Art Acevedo, Chief of Police. And I want to just reiterate a couple of things. Number one, I want to just thank the men and women of the Houston Police Department for the phenomenal job they're doing of keeping the city of Houston safe, all of our special event locations safe, and most importantly, thank them for the way in which they've conducted themselves as our members of our community continue to engage in First Amendment protected activity at the airport and at Super Bowl Live. It really touches my heart, Mayor, when I get Twitter messages and Facebook messages and emails from activists saying thank you. Thank you to the Houston Police Department for allowing us to exercise our rights, for supporting our ability to exercise our rights. And from us to all the activists that have been coming out, we want to say thank you, because although it is a duty of the Houston Police Department to actually ensure that your First Amendment rights are protected, we have a mutual responsibility to ensure that we are all following the rules of engagement, which means there's a distinct line between First Amendment activity and criminal activity. And so as we move further into this week, we want the community to know that we are well prepared at all of our venues to support and keep any activity safe. We want our activists to know that we will be there to help facilitate you exercising your rights. But for those that may want to wreak havoc and try to hijack the activities of our community, our peaceful community, that has a long established history of letting its feelings be known in a way where their delivery of their feelings and the message that they're trying to deliver is not lost in their methods, that anybody that wants to engage in what I call anarchist type conduct, you will not be welcome here, because it won't be the police department that will stand up to you. It is in truly this community of activists that understands the true value and meaning of the First Amendment. Lastly, in terms of the executive orders of the president and the issues going on at the national level, the Houston Police Department will continue to focus, a singular razor-sharp focus, as all of my colleagues will do across the nation. And that focus will be on the public safety, the safety of the men and women living, visiting, and working in the city of Houston and all our big cities and cities throughout the country. At a time when violent crime is starting to go up nationwide, we don't want to have our very limited resources be taken away from our number one mission, which is to keep people safe. And our number one force multipliers, we try to keep people safe from violent crime, homegrown extremism, overseas extremism, terrorism, is the community that we serve. And so our message, I think, from law enforcement across the country to communities of color and communities from immigrant nations, know this, that we will continue to have our focus be on those that would do us harm, regardless of their immigration status. We don't care whether they're undocumented or documented. If they're going to try to hurt a member of this community or any community, we're going to come after them, and that will continue to be our focus. Lastly, to the Muslim community, this mayor, this council, this city, this police department, this police chief stands with all members of the Muslim community that most, and if not all, are here for the same reason that our fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters came here, and that's to seek a great life that we have and enjoy here in this country. We've directed, at the direction of the mayor, to ensure that our police department has reached out to all of our mosques and all our Islamic centers to reassure this community, that we stand with them. We will not tolerate hate crimes. We will not tolerate anyone targeting that community. And again, remember that if you're the victim of a crime or witness of a crime, please come forward. We're here to serve and protect. Thank you.
La comunidad islámica.
Sencillamente es muy sencillo lo que tengo que decirle. Los departamentos policíacos de este país y en esta ciudad, la ciudad de Houston, estamos aquí para apoyarlo y protegerlo. No vamos a permitir ni que una persona use el odio para caerle atrás, para hacerle daño, y vamos a estar con ustedes para mantener su seguridad. El alcalde Turner me suplicó ayer, me pidió, y gracias a Dios está aquí con su liderazgo, que nos ponemos en contacto con todos los líderes de la comunidad del Este Oriente, para que sepan que estamos aquí para apoyarlos, mantenerlos seguros. Últimamente a la comunidad inmigratoria, acuérdese que nosotros vamos a seguir igual que siempre. Si es testigo o es víctima de un crimen, no tenga temor, que los policías locales, la policía de Houston está aquí para apoyarlo, para protegerlo y para traerle justicia a usted y a su familia.
Gracias.
Thank you. We'll take any questions that you may have for a few minutes. Yes, Rebecca.
Mayor, many big city mayors across the country were either joining in protests this weekend or came out publicly on Saturday to address the Trump's executive order. You waited nearly 48 hours to address it and are addressing it now. Why take that hands-off approach to this issue?
Well, that is your interpretation of it, Rebecca, and I'll leave that for your interpretation. I have been consistent since I've been the mayor of this city, and I think you all have heard me say many times that we are a very diverse city. In fact, we are the most diverse city, but we seek to be an inclusive city. That's been my stance from day one. I have never faltered in that position. I've issued my statement that I take issue with the executive order, and that's been very, very clear. So let's just say you and I differ in interpretation, but I certainly respect you for having your own assessment. Yes, sir.
Mayor, with the national and really state threats about money coming this way or not coming this way based on sanctuary city status, what comments would you add, with the knowledge of these kind of threats?
I think I have said many times before that the city of Houston is a very welcoming city. We embrace people from all over the globe. One of 4 Houstonians is foreign born. In this city, we do not profile people to determine whether or not they are documented or undocumented, whether they're here legally or illegally. We do not profile. We follow the laws as dictated by the United States Supreme Court and others, and we will continue to do that. So my response is very clear. We are a welcoming city. HPD is not ICE. We're not INS. We're not, and we have not been in this city, and we're not going to be right now. But we will continue to be a very welcoming and embracing city, and I have said that over and over and over again. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Turner, with the announcement of these 3 executive orders last week that, definitely affect a huge population of the Muslim community all across the country, and also, Latino and Hispanic communities to a certain extent, what exactly do you think that these will make us safer or not?
I can't speak to that. What I can say is that I have a responsibility to maintain the security of the people in the city of Houston. That's my number one job. I do believe, number one, that we're going to do just that. We're going to do everything we can to maintain the security of people, to make sure that the people here in our city, regardless of the language that they may speak or the religion they may practice, that they are protected. If you are Jewish going to a synagogue, want to make sure you're protected. If you're Muslim going to a mosque, want to make sure you're protected. Baptist, Catholic, you name it. All of that's important. Regardless of your ethnicity, it's important for us to make sure that you go about your business in this city and you feel safe and comfortable in doing just that. Now, whether or not the executive order or orders that have been issued in D.C. Will make this country safe or less safe, I'll have to leave it up to the persons that put those orders into place. But I do know, what I can say to you is that there's a lot of fear and anxiety with people believing that if they leave this country, they can't come back. If they're out of this country, they can't come back. There's a lot of fear and anxiety amongst children that are going to our schools, concerned whether or not their parents are going to be deported or families are going to be divided. So there's a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety. And I certainly want to speak to that, and I have spoken to that several times and will continue to speak to it in our own way. And so we are addressing that. I think this council has spoken to it very clearly, and we will continue to do that. But this is a diverse city, but we seek to be even a more inclusive city.
How are things at the airport now?
From all indications, things are well, but Mario, you want to specifically address that? How are things at the airport?
Things at the airport are going well. Over the weekend, we did have some protests. We had about 50 people coming out on Saturday. It lasted till about 10:30 in the evening. Then on Sunday, we had as many as 1,500. Everyone was very, very well behaved. They cooperated with the Houston airport system and the police. I want to certainly thank Chief Acevedo for the police force, just absolutely professional. Everything was orderly. At no time were any operations affected. No passengers were delayed or inconvenienced, and we don't see any impact at all with respect to the operations of the airport.
What about information from Customs and Borders as to how many people are still being held, if any, at IH?
So I can tell you, much of that's security-sensitive information, but I can tell you this. There were people from the 7 nations that did travel to Houston Intercontinental Airport over the weekend. Every one of them was cleared. They entered the United States.
¿Nos puede decir en español, por favor, cuál es la situación actual en el aeropuerto?
La situación actual en el aeropuerto es que todo va bien. Sobre el fin de semana estuvimos como 50 personas el sábado y 1.500 personas el domingo que hicieron unas protestaciones, pero todo se comportaron muy bien y no afectaron las operaciones del aeropuerto en un sentido. Todo va bien y esperamos que todo vaya bien esta semana y este fin de semana cuando vamos a tener el Super Bowl.
Are there any other questions? Thank you so very much. Appreciate you being here. Thank you all. Thank you.